Away. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a little afternoon and we want to get started on our compliance contract session today with Focus Title. It's a very, very, very important topic in our selling of real estate. So I hope you all get wonderful information today from Jenny Klug, who's right here, and she's the manager of Focus Title. Good, thank you.
Thanks, Joan. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Glad to see everybody here today to get a little refresher or some new people to learn what's going on with title. And so it's obviously a very important part of every transaction. And I think a lot of people coming in maybe not realize how much.
You must have a volume control somewhere, but mine shows in the bottom, but you don't have that on yours, so.
Who's that?
I don't know.
You know who that is, Steph?
I muted them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right, so my name again, Jenny Klug, Focus Title. Been with Focus / Knightberry for 13 years, and it's been a fun journey and grown. You know, KW has grown, and so has Focus Title. We have 5 offices now and almost 30 employees. So we have a lot of people here to help you from all the offices, and so it's great support. So I'm just going to start quick here with the app. For those of you that don't have the Focus Title, Focus Agent One app, you can put on your phone, you can put it on a computer, you can do multiple devices. It's free of charge. There is an upgrade, very small upgrade, and you get a lot more benefits, but even the basic benefits, if you need to do a buyer-seller info sheet, net sheets for buyers and sellers, comparing renting to owning, literally there's just so much, and you can personalize the app with your face on any flyers you want to do, material you want to send out to agents via email, all of that. I mean, so check it out if you have not. Definitely download the app and kind of play around with it. So and there's easy tutorials on there. There's so much to help you that it'll walk you through and you'll be fine. Everybody says how easy it is. So definitely get that if you have not. So where do I go next one? Let's see where I want to go to. All right, I'm going to go to just find the checklist here. So I'm going to share with you my checklist. And this is something that download on your computer, put it up by your desk. It's just going to go over what we need and what we suggest for you going from listing appointment to accepted offer and along the way. So the first thing is that we want you to ask for prior title policy. Do it at the listing appointment because most people have no idea where this is. And so you want to talk to them to look for it. I think now since people have been getting a discount for a couple years, more people are paying attention. So see if they can find their prior title policy and they can give that to you, and then you can give that to us when they have an accepted offer. So that's one thing. We also do the certification for non-foreign status. Used to have to be done right away, and now we can do it at the pre-sign. So that's not as important. If you have them do it at the listing appointment, totally fine. That's the FERPTA. Otherwise, they can wait and we can do it later. The authorization form, which is this document. This is something I suggest you bring to the listing appointment as well and have them fill it in, sign it. If they have their loan number now, great. If they have, fill in their social, great. But if they want to wait to give that to us later, they can. We don't have to have everything, but make sure they at least sign it. A lot of lenders they don't like electronic signatures. So they will reject us requesting a payoff if this is electronically signed. And it's just those handful that make it kind of a problem, but we'd rather if this can be wet signed at the listing appointment, that is the easiest for all because we are constantly trying to track this down. So get the authorization, keep that part of your listing packet as well, excuse me. Another thing I think before you go to the listing appointment or you go and then you find out there's an estate, an LLC owns it, trust docs, might be a short sale. If you have any red flags from meeting with the customers, You can come back to us and order what's called the property profile. It's free. It's free of charge. And, you know, we have agents that'll email us saying, boy, someone's deceased. We're not sure who's entitled. Is it in probate? Are there siblings? Are there children? You know, what's going on? And so we can take a look at the property and before you even list it, if you think something might be a red flag, or, you know, anything like that. We also can look up easements. Our title people can, sorry, gotta get my water. Our title people, and this is a big one, you guys, half gallon. If you need easements, anything like that, if you hear something that again is weird, we can always look before you list. So just remember, there's a lot that we can do without doing a whole title search that can assist you with any questions or red flags you might have. All right, any questions up until that? Okay, all right. Another thing at the listing appointment that you want to remember, and this happens all the time. The people you meet with are husband and wife, but oh wait, he bought this 5 years ago before we were married, so I don't have to sign anything. That is wrong. If you're married, buyers and sellers, married people lived at the property, they both have to sign everything from contract to finish. That just protects everyone because Wisconsin is a marital property state, and that releases the homestead rights of the spouse that's not in title. So just remember that. If it's an investment property, just the one person is fine, but if they are married, they both have to sign everything from start to finish, okay? So the fees obviously are on our app, so you can get fees for everything. I do give kind of just a little breakdown here of some of them, but again, you can pull up everything and really get close to what the buyers and sellers, you know, have to bring or are getting for the transaction.
I would like to comment here. I think it's really important at the listing or at one of your listing appointments to spell these fees out because we don't want this to be a surprise to them. And oftentimes it can be when we as agents want to avoid this conversation and letting them know what the title fees are, you know, in conjunction with going over the commission. But anyway, do a seller net proceeds sheet. There are outlines for that or templates for that, but definitely be going over the title fees at the time of the listing appointment.
Yes, and if you have any questions, especially early on, email us. The team email is simple. It's just Whitefish Bay. If you didn't know it already, it's Whitefish Bay at focustitlewi.com. That's our team email. So there's about 5 of us on that. So somebody will jump on. If you're not sure about, you know, what some fees are and you want to quick ask us, we can definitely assist you in that. So until you get used to the app or all of that. Going the wrong way here. Hold on. Why can't I? Hold on. I can't see the arrow. There it is. Okay. Going too fast. Hold on. Okay, this is something, and I think it's uploaded somewhere as well in Command or whatever for you guys. Listing questionnaire regarding title issues. This should be part of your listing packet as well. This asks some tough questions and it's going to red flag some things. Again, maybe then we do the property profile early on to see if there is anything outstanding out there, judgments, liens, you know, that we want to know. So I think this is a great thing to put in your listing packet, have them fill this out at the listing appointment. And then if there's anything you're not sure of, then reach out to us and we can assist you. So once you get an offer, one of the documents that we like filled out besides the authorization, which they should have already filled out. And then once you have an offer, you can complete this form and just kind of gives us a synopsis of the offer. Sometimes we'll get multiple amendments or counter offers over, and you know, we're going through it quickly. We want to make sure we have the most up-to-date, you know, offer to purchase that everybody agreed upon, counter offers, all of that. So this is just information for us. And there's a spot to put the lender's information as well as the condo or homeowners association. Both very important. You give us the lender's information, we reach out to every lender that we get an order on to see if they want to tack on the loan policy. So very important to put the lender information on. Also the association information, which there's a spot on the authorization form for it as well, because if the seller knows it offhand or can look it up quickly, they can fill that in on there. But then just to confirm, we have a spot on here because really those are both really big things we have to do when we're, we want to get the lender side order. We need to reach out to the association to get the final payoffs on everything, make sure they're up to date. There's no special assessments owed on the condo. So this you can fill out and send over with the offer to purchase. On the checklist, we'll go just back to that for a second here. This, let me pull it down here. All right, okay. This then for the accepted offer section, it shows this is what we need you to send us via email. The accepted offer, all counters and amendments, that prior title that you hopefully received from the seller from the listing appointment, the authorization form filled out, signed, and then if we need to call them for social security numbers or loan numbers, we can do that. So they're not putting all that personal information on that form right away. Buyer seller sheet, we need your listing contract so we can pay you. So be sure to send the listing contract. When you receive the earnest money receipt, we need a copy of that to be sure earnest money has been collected in the correct dollar amount. Again, buyer's lender, if we didn't know prior, just get us to that when you can. And then if we know it's an LLC or trust, we would need the LLC documents and or trust documents if there's a trust. And so we'll hold your hand through all of that. We'll tell you what we need to make sure nothing's missed. And then basically along the way, if there's any invoices that need to be paid on the closing statement, a home warranty, if the home warranty is included, any paid receipts and lien waivers, and then be sure that you, as the agent, are letting the title company know when and where the closing's been scheduled. We sometimes are the last to know, and so we need to be sure, going back into probably a busy spring, summer market, we need to be sure that we have coverage, you're getting us all of that so we can get things on the calendar, or if we're traveling, we just want to be sure that we got everybody's closings on the calendar. And if you're booking here, obviously the rooms have changed a little bit, so make sure you're looking at the calendar, the appointment calendar, where you're booking appointments, because we're obviously got a few things going on here anyways in North Shore. So, all right, any questions on any of that? All right. The other thing I would suggest either at the listing appointment or when they get an offer, we just want to be sure that this is pretty important too, so kind of make a mental note, and it'll become old habit once you do more and more. We do not want any sellers to close any open mortgages. We have sellers that will be like, to themselves, I have a zero balance line of credit. You know what? I'm just going to close this $40,000 line of credit because it's a zero balance. Well, let's say they do that around the time they get an accepted offer. Depending on the lender, it can take months sometime for them to record that satisfaction. And we would want to get to close, so we would, but we would probably hold $40,000 of their proceeds because it's not showing up satisfied and we can't close with it open. So it's very important just to mention to people, do not close out any mortgages at all during the transaction. Title will take care of it at closing. Otherwise, it can definitely cause some hiccups along the way. Okay. We do have some sheets I've included here too. I'll go back. And these you can include in your listing or buyer. So here, this one is, making sure I'm looking at the right one. You unpack boxes, we push paper. So buyers, sellers, I have these. One can go in a buyer listing packet. One can go in a buyer packet. One can go in a listing packet. Just kind of talks about, gets our name out there right away to your people. So one's for a buyer, one's for a seller. You can print these out. I can order some if you're interested in them. So you just got to let me know. But these are kind of handy. It introduces focus title. Our name is in their packet. They know that they're going to be hearing from us at some point. So just to have our name out there right away with your listing stuff is kind of nice. So I would say, please have me get you copies, or you can print them out. This is something that I just decided to share today. And it's also in the Google Drive, obviously, because that's where we are. Happy Monday. This is nice for your buyers. And so I was contemplating this because we have more and more people. We want to protect people, but we can't give legal advice. We can't tell them how they should take title. And so I would give this to your buyers, and they can bring it to a closing table, and they can fill out the bottom of the form and let us know how they would like to take title. If they're married, not married, there's definitely ways that they can check a box and fill in that they are going to be protected. So I can't get it to go down further. Is that? I was trying to, I have so much on the front of this. I'm like, I was trying to, oh, well, okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I was trying to, I'm like, okay,
So
yeah.
if you just use 2 pictures.
Okay, perfect. Well, so is that on the bottom of everybody? That's just on the bottom of mine.
Yeah. You're in here.
Can we move it?
Yeah.
Just so I can show more of the,
Let's move these. Let's move them like here.
okay, perfect.
work?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Because I don't do this every day. Sorry, so here's the whole form, and this is where they can check how they want to take title, and I think this would be very helpful to give to your buyers. Obviously, we're part of Knightberry Title Group. I could probably get the document updated to say focus title, but this is something I think to give your buyers, especially if they're not married, or if only one is on the loan. Sometimes this is a good way to be sure we're protecting everybody, but they're telling us what to do. We are not. So this is a good form to have. You know what I forgot to send? Okay. So there's a couple forms in here now that we have that are new, and these are kind of nice for you as an agent to kind of go over so you're understanding what title is about. And these are in the Google Drive. There's one that says, what is title insurance? Sold, and why do you need title insurance? I think as an agent, educate yourself. You can learn more. You can learn more about what title insurance is yourself. I'm not going to go through and read all this, but I want you guys to, you have access to it now from the Google Drive. So just read through these documents. They are really good education, and then they might spark some conversations, and you can reach out to us if you have questions. So what is title insurance? Why you need title insurance tells people, you know, why are we getting this? Why do we need this? Well, we're protecting everybody. We're protecting the buyer, that there's no liens on the property. We're protecting the seller. So it's some easier ways to explain it because a lot of people don't understand it. And then again, the sold document is kind of contract is accepted. Now what do we do? Kind of a breakdown about what we've gone over. Sally, can you do me a favor? Will you take this upstairs and email it to Steph Connard because she can upload it for me? It's a copy of the title commitment I need to go over. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to and it's got to be obviously 4-page, yeah. So I forgot to upload the title commitment because I was making copies of it. So we're going to go over a title commitment. That's what you're going to get once title is complete. So I'm going to have that sent to Steph. And Steph, can you add it to the Google Docs for me?
She'll send it to me, and why don't I just share my screen and we can go
Perfect.
through it together.
Perfect. That's wonderful. Thank you. Sorry, scrambling to get everything ready this morning. All right, so let me just see if I've got some other things here while we're waiting. All right, so
I think I'd like to make some comments.
all right,
Just because I've worked with Jenny really closely for a long time in one of my former jobs. And so,
Yeah.
communicate swiftly with title. When you are a listing agent, make sure that you are ordering, and that's the term we like to use, ordering title, within the first 2 days after an accepted offer. If it's a quick closing, make sure that you are putting that in your emails to Jenny and the team, because then they'll prioritize it.
Oh,
Right.
on the note stuff, 2 things with that. We suggest you get an accepted offer. We want that offer right away. Do not wait till inspection. Do not wait till all of that, especially when we're busy, because we need to get the ball rolling. And if that offer deal falls through, you're most likely going to get another offer unless there's something like terrible that you're not listing it again.
Right.
So always get the orders in right away. And on cash deals, I mean, we try to work miracles and that kind of stuff, but usually cash deal we can close in 2 weeks as long as there's no issues on title. But again, that's getting the order in timely, so we can order the specials, we can order everything we need to be sure that we can get it closed in time for you.
Yeah. And then I was also going to just reiterate Jenny's point on she made a comment about them being the last people to know on when there are updates to a file. Make sure that when you have those amendments that you're sending, that's part of your process, that you're sending those to the title company along with the rest of the parties in the transaction. So
yes,
let me see if I have this.
And that's what we'll go over now as we're going over the title commitment. We'll talk about the closing statement, reviewing everything, because we don't need you to know everything on the title commitment, but we need you to look at a few things to be sure we didn't miss anything, or then something doesn't match up. So we just want to be sure that nothing is mixed. And really, it's communicating the whole way through with us. We're going to become your best friends.
All right, can everybody see my screen okay?
All right. So this is what's going to be emailed to you after title comes out in about 7 to 10 business days, 5 to 10, depending on how busy we are. We shoot for 5 days to get title out, but sometimes it's a little longer if it's a harder search, just all that. So that's another reason we like to get the prior title from the sellers, is because it shortens our search a bit. It helps us to get some of the stuff done in a more timely manner. We don't have to go back as far. So on the commitment, it's going to basically tell you on the right top side who the title person is that did the title work. And it's also going to show you the closing contact. So it's going to show you some emails. So if you have questions about the title commitment, if you have questions about it's not showing up right, Steph.
You can't see my screen?
I can, but I see the email. There we go.
All right.
There we go. Okay, so on the top there where she's saying, so there's the title commitment shows the examiner and the closing contact. So if you have any questions, you're going to know who to reach out to right away. So, and obviously always us as well. The commitment date is going to be probably about the 10 days prior to the date the examiner actually does this search. And that is because the Register of Deeds is usually about 2 weeks out. So we have to keep that gap period because things might get recorded. And then we do a verbal update a couple days prior to closing. Our examiners will go back in. They will look at everything that's recorded and make sure nothing new has shown up. There's no new mortgages, there's no judgments, there's nothing like that has shown up. And so we'll check that along the way to be sure we don't get anything missed as well. All right, shows the owner's policy. So it's going to show the purchase price is the first price. And then it's going to show the name of the buyer. And then it's going to show the loan amount. And then we have America Bank. That's their bank. That's the buyer's bank. And then again, the seller. And so basically when you're looking at that, I want you to be sure we didn't misspell any names. We read the because sometimes we maybe have trouble reading what's written on the contract, or we have a typo, human error. So we want multiple eyes looking at this document. So we want you to just look basically at those 4 things. Make sure the purchase price is right. The loan amount, we'll make sure that's okay. But really the 2 names and the purchase price. Because again, you might have renegotiated something. There's a new amendment for the purchase price change. We did not get it. So now that's why we want to make sure we get this caught before we're actually drafting any numbers if possible. And lastly, just check to be sure the address looks correct. You don't need to, obviously the legal you wouldn't know, but the address is at the bottom. And you want to make sure the address looks correct. Just another thing to look over when you get the title commitment. All right, next page. So the next page, these are the requirements. It's always Schedule B, Part 1. These are my requirements. This is my instructions, basically. This tells me what I need to do. It tells me that I need to make sure that I get paid for some things. It tells me that, oh my gosh, the sellers are getting a divorce. I need to reach back out. We need to get a copy of their marital settlement agreement. I need to know who gets what. So we need to see that. And on the lines of that, if someone is in the middle of a divorce, we would just reach out for the attorney's contact information. And so then we would reach out to the attorney. People can definitely be in a divorce during a transaction or when they're selling. If it's amicable, they agree, they have no lawyer, they agree 50-50, they sign paperwork that we have. Now, if they have attorneys and they're fighting, then we send the money to one of the attorneys until they can figure things out. So divorce, there's always a couple things we need. This tells me that I need to draft a deed, and it's going to tell me from who to who that I need to draft a deed. And then there's a mortgage. But let's go back to the deed. So one thing that, and this is why when we have you fill out the buyer's seller sheet, or now our authorization asks people questions. Are you married? Are you divorced? Single? All these questions we need to know, because when we go to draft the deed, we have to put single, married, homestead, non-homestead. So these are all important questions we need when drafting the deed. And so that's why we need the forms we send you guys or send to the sellers filled out completely, because really it checks off so many boxes along the way that we need to take care of things. But then for the mortgage, then for Jill to America Bank on the very bottom, D and E. Same with the mortgage. The mortgage has to either, it says there on the E, so it has to indicate the land is not homestead, indicate the borrower is single or married, or executed by the borrower's spouse. It's been crazy lately. We've had so many. I had one the other day at closing that the woman, there's only one person on the offer, one person then would be on the title, on the deed, because they all match. We get to closing, the husband's there. The husband says, wait, I'm supposed to be on everything. I'm like, oh, well, let's look here. You're not on the offer, you're not on title, you're not on the deed. If you want to be added, we can, but you have to do an amendment. And this is what I think a lot of agents this happens a lot, and I think it's not educated on. You can be, because if the wife's the only one on the loan, they'll say, I'm the only one on the loan, so that's it. So it's just the wife on everything. That's not true. If the husband and wife want to be on the offer to purchase, great. If they want it, then they'll be in title, then they'll be on the deed. Then what happens with the loan part of things is Mr. will be on the face of the mortgage and probably sign 4 documents, but they're not on the loan. So this is something that we've seen a lot lately, and I've had to add spouses at the closing table, or we've had to tell them it's too late, we're gonna have to do a quick claim deed later to add whichever one didn't. So again, husband and wife want to be on everything, but only one's on the loan. That's okay. We can work with it that way. And I think that it's probably better that way too, because it protects the husband, whoever's not on the loan, it's protecting them. So I think we need to be sure that even though only one's on the loan, we want you guys to write these offers with, if they want husband and wife, they want to both be in title, it's got to be is from the start. So just something to really, really pay attention to. All right, next page are the exceptions. And pretty much 1 through 8 are general exceptions on every title insurance commitment. That's going to be on every one because we don't know if this property might have that, might not have it. It's for, We Energies easements. We're obviously going to order special assessment letters from the municipality to let us know what taxes are owed, what water's owed. Are there any outstanding, did they do the driveway or the sidewalk recently in the city of Milwaukee, and the seller was charged for that. So this just is general requirements because this is part of what we have to do, okay? 100 always shows then taxes, are taxes due for the year, are taxes paid? We need to pay them if they're due. If they're not due, then it just tells us they're not due and we'll prorate accordingly. So the next page, Schedule B, Part 2 for the exceptions. This will show, again, any easements at this point are recorded, and if somebody wants to see a copy of an easement, we can get that for them. Oh, look, there's a judgment. Well, now we need to talk to the seller. Is this you? Is it not you? If it's you, we need to work on getting a payoff, and we have to pay anything like that off at closing. Mortgage. Oh, there's a mortgage. I need to pay that off. So it'll tell me now. We're going to go ahead and make sure. This is the only place really that for an agent to look for, as well as like the MSA or if trust docs are needed, but we'll reach out to you right away to let you know if that stuff's needed. But sometimes the seller will fill out the authorization form and put 1 mortgage. Well, all of a sudden 3 mortgages show up on title. It's like, oh, what did they give us? What was missed? So that's probably pretty common too, is that sellers don't realize that their home equity line of credit is attached to the property. A lot of times they don't. And so we just want to make sure that we're talking and communicating. Do you have 1 mortgage, 2 mortgages? Is it a line of credit? If it is, we have to pay it off. So just some more kind of background information. And then the footnotes will show you now all the people that this was emailed to will be on the bottom of the title commitment there. This one just shows Jason, but this will actually show everyone so we know who received it and is part of the transaction, okay? Any questions on that title commitment or anything with that? Is anybody?
Sometimes I have a question.
Joan, okay.
A lot of times a newer agent will get a copy of the title commitment and not sure who else it was sent to.
Mm-hmm.
Am I supposed to send this now to my client? Does the listing agent get a copy of this? They're always asking that.
Yes, so that's why we have that on the bottom there now.
That's the list.
It will have the list.
Okay.
Listing agent, buyer, both agents. It will have, if there's a lender, it will have our people. We do not send this directly to buyers and sellers because we want us, you, me, to look at it. We don't want to freak them out if all of a sudden there's like, a similar name, John Smith, similar name. Oh my God, 10 judgments showed up on title, and they're not him, but now he's freaking out. So they do get a copy of the title. I mean, we do want you to, but we want us to have that communication first. Everybody, we take a look at it, you take a look at it. My team reaches out pretty quickly to say, oh my gosh, there's judgments on title. Then they'll reach out to the seller and the agent to say, is it you? Oh yeah. Is it you? Is it not you? Because we want to get that stuff cleared up right away because it can take a couple months depending on what it is. Sometimes it will push off a closing or this is a good step for that. So if there is some judgments, we can't get a mortgage payoff. We want this to close. So we will be sure it closes. So we'll do and have our attorneys draft a secured indemnity agreement. And what that is it's basically we're holding money, for a couple days or a week until we get that federal tax lien payoff that takes forever, or that judgment, or that mortgage that we're not, someone's not sending us. So we can still get to close even if we don't have all the components by holding money. And so we can definitely do that. We can do unsecured indemnity agreements. If we know we have enough information to go to our underwriters to say, hey, we know this was paid. We can't get this right now. It's in transit or whatever. Or we get prior titles that help us. And so we can do unsecured as well, depending on the situation. I mean, it really is a transaction to transaction. Every day it's different. Every situation's different. And so when we learn stuff still after all these years, we still learn stuff every day. So it's, again, communicating and just learning how to look at this a little bit. So, yeah. All right. Any other questions on that piece of it? Okay. So I don't have a copy of the closing statement only because I don't have a training one right now, which I'm going to work on getting, but closing statements, will come out to you about a week or two prior to closing, you know, depending on, like, we're 2 weeks ahead right now, but you know, depending on how busy we're trying to stay ahead of things, because we want to give you guys enough time to review that. Plus, a lot of times we'll send the closing statement out. Oh yeah, so these are PDFs that I have in here, and there's a slideshow. So if you want to, we don't have to go through all of this, and I've kind of gone through some of this just in general, but this is something you can look through later. Just is a lot of information. So look through the PDFs, and they can definitely answer some questions or, again, spark some conversations. But when you get the closing statement, I want you to look at, is the purchase price correct? Is the commissions correct? Is there a closing cost credit that we didn't? Is it on there that should be on there? Home warranty. These are all the things that, thanks, Steph. These are all the things that we want you to look at now. You've looked at the title commitment. You've looked at over the couple areas. Nothing's jumping out at you. Now look at the closing statement. And again, really the biggest things are purchase price. Is that correct? Are my commissions correct? Is there a closing cost credit? Home warranty? Oops, I didn't send the invoice yet. Also, some stuff that gets missed sometimes is the buyer agency agreement or seller admin fee. So make sure that, you know, you're double checking to see, did we miss this? We want to make sure we have all that information. If you have a buyer agency, you send, you know, get that to us as well so we can make sure that's on the statement. And then once you've reviewed the closing statement, we ask that you forward it to your sellers. Again, because so many times we send out that initial statement and we don't want to send it to the sellers right away because we didn't get an amendment. We didn't get that listing contract change in commissions. So we need everybody to look at it to be sure that that we did not miss anything. And then we want you to forward it to your sellers to be sure, you know, we're good to go, and that should be fine. But again, it's communication. It's just reading over it a little bit. Just don't ignore it, you know, thinking, oh, they've got it. We have to be a team all together, and we just want to make sure you look great, everybody looks great from start to finish, and we're not sending them, you know, too many closing statements because of all these corrections. We only want to send it to them the least amount of time with the correct numbers. So.
And there's a time when you have to send it to the sellers. They have to be able to review it 3 days prior to closing.
We're a week to 2 weeks out.
Oh,
We're that far out.
Okay.
Normally 2 weeks, when we get a little busy, it might be a week out. That is for the buyers. The buyer's closing disclosure has to be disclosed to them 3 days prior. That is the TRID rules. So buyers have to be 3 days so that they can figure out getting the funds together, obviously for closing. I will touch base briefly, and I can send this as something to put in the Google Drive as well, is that we have something that it's not hugely probably going to be used by Keller Williams agents, but it's called Zachem, and it's a earnest money app now that people can download to their phone, take a picture of their check, and it goes to our file. It's really for sale by owner people. A lot of times we'll hold for sale by owner people, or sometimes if you're working with an agent and they're like, no, we don't want you to hold it. We want someone else. We want the title company to hold it. We have some really cool things coming out now for this app. So I will get that to you to share and take a look at as an option. I was told that it might be able to be used for cash brought to a closing from a buyer, but they would have to do it 2 days in advance because obviously checks clearing, if it's a cashier's check, we still have to have a couple days. So this is all some stuff in the works, and I'm going to keep working on that for you guys. And I will let you know as it progresses. Okay.
Just made a list.
Oh, you go, girl. Oh, of all the things to check. Nice. All right. So that really is kind of the gist of, without getting into it so deeply, I want you to, again, read over the forms I've put and the PDF. There's the slideshow. Just take your time to read through it a little bit and then come back to us with questions. Whatever you have questions on, we're here for you. So does anybody have any other questions on any of that? Is there anything in chat? Let me go.
Nope, it's just me.
Oh, it's just you. Okay.
Jenny, I have
All
a
right.
question regarding the buyer side title.
Yep.
I've come across two more recently. I, at one point, understood that the lender ordered the buyer's title.
Yeah.
I've come across two lenders that don't do that.
No.
One time,
Oh.
yeah, I whatever. So one time it got ordered with you guys late. My apologies, because I didn't know. And another time, I guess I ordered it too quickly, and then I find out from the lender that the lender orders, but I sent the information to you. So what's supposed to happen?
Great question, because I didn't want to touch on that. So if you are the listing agent and you send us the order only when you're the listing agent, and I know what happened probably with this too, because I feel like sometimes the lenders don't know who to send it to, and they send the order to the agent initially, and then you just have to forward it to us because they don't know maybe in the beginning who's the title company that's closing. That's again why we try to reach out to them right away with communication. But if you're the listing agent, you send us the order. If it's the buyer's agent, if you're the buyer's agent, we just want you to refer Focus Title. And if that's the case, we have a general email that goes to for buyer side, and that's the closer at focustitlewi.com. So buyer side lender orders go to our closer email, and that's our processing team for lenders. But they will send it to you guys, but literally lenders order title. You guys do not send us anything when it's a buy side, unless they forward it to you by accident or whatever. But you would never be sending us an order to enter for a buy side.
Well, that makes so much more sense.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason, two completely different lender institutions, one sent an email asking if title's been ordered. And I'm like, what do you mean? Okay.
Well,
So I
here's
sent you the,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I sent the information, and I'm like, I'm confused. I'm not really sure now.
Well, and I think, and this is where it's so hard sometimes too, is literally every state, every lender does things differently everywhere. It's just crazy. You wish they have some of the same forms, but they're not, and they all do things differently. Some of the smaller banks do things one way, they close their own, but they order titles, so we're not closing it for them. And then I think a lot of these, what happens depending on the state or the area even, they're just used to like, oh yeah, I'm just going to send this to the listing agent, and they'll just send it where it needs to go and take care of ordering title. I think some of the banks that's how it's done in their state.
Okay.
Oddly enough, in Wisconsin, it's crazy because in our area here in the southeastern Wisconsin, we do a lot of two-sided closings. I mean, we're getting more and more business where it's nice. We're getting both sides right away. And it makes for, 20-minute closing, unless they're asking a lot of questions, they're nice and smooth and awesome. You go to Madison, they will fight. The different title companies literally are like, no, I'm doing the seller side, because like they do one title company for both sides. And that's the Madison area. They are so different than we are, just even in the state. So it's,
Okay.
Yeah,
So if we end up getting the buyer side title, I just need to connect you guys with the lender and be done.
yep. And
Okay,
done, we'll take
cool.
it from there.
So
Yep.
much easier.
Absolutely. Good question. That was great. So, and again, this is a constant learning experience. You guys just reach out whenever you want to us and we'll help you guys. So, yeah. Anything else, Steph, that you think?
Cool, thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Again, it's a lot of information. So, just take time a little bit each day or in a week, whatever you guys want to do, just take a peek at everything I sent. I tried to send a bunch of stuff with some good information. So,
Yeah, it's a lot. So don't beat yourself up if you don't get it right away. Takes a long time to get a good grasp on.
right, it is, but we got a good team and I'm glad we have so many, we have a lot more staff now. And so we're just here to help you. So whatever you need, just reach out. And again, yeah, don't beat yourself up. If there's anything you get an email for or you see and you're not sure of, just loop us in or send us the email with your questions and we'll help you figure it out.
Okay.
For me.
Thank you, Jenny, so
Thank you,
much.
Steph, you're welcome.
Thanks, Jenny.
You're welcome.
Thanks, you guys. It was awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right. We'll
We'll be
talk to you
back.
soon.
Oh, go
Good luck.
ahead,
Go
Jen.
get those sales.
Yes. All right,
You're
we'll be back
welcome.
next week. Take care, guys.
Bye, Steph.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, you haven't? I wasn't sure if you did.
No, because when I started, we were just putting it on Zoom.
Oh,
why I
that's
asked
right.
you. Yeah.